Good day, everyone. Once again, this is your teacher Danny of Paliparan 3 Senior High School. In today's video, we'll be discussing the relationship of the human person in the environment. We will try to explore the relationship of the human person with the environment. As you may already know, that human person needs to interact with the environment to get their food, water, fuel, medicine, and building materials, and many others. First question that comes out in our mind is, how does philosophy define man's relationship with the environment? First is the environmental philosophy. First, we have to define what is environmental philosophy. It is a branch of philosophy that is concerned with the natural environment and humanity's place within it. In this figure, we figure out what is the environmental philosophy. So we have environmental ethics, environmental aesthetics, ecofeminism, and environmental theology. As we already know, that environmental philosophy as a branch of philosophy that is concerned with the natural environment and humans place within it. Environmental philosophy includes environmental ethics, environmental aesthetics, ecofeminism, and environmental theology. In some other definition, environmental philosophy is considered a discipline that studies moral relationship of human being with the environment in non-human contents. In some other concern, we have different views of the relationship of a human person in the environment, namely the Anthropocentric View, the Cosmocentric View, and the Theocentric View. In the Anthropocentrism, it is the belief that humans are the central and most significant species on the planet, meaning to say, this view believes that humans are considered the primary cause that drives changes in the environment. In other words, the anthropocentric view considered that humans or human beings are the central and the most significant entities in the world. In the anthropocentric view, as we all know, that human beings are the central and most significant entities in the world, meaning to say that human being gives dominion over the other. In some other views on the relationship of the human person to the environment, in the cosmocentric view or the cosmocentrism, believes that human beings are the microcosm of the cosmos, or the small version of the universe. Therefore, the universe is reflected in us. The last view that we have to consider, the relationship of human person to the environment, is the theocentrism or the theocentric view, considered as the center of the natural and supernatural reality is God. Therefore, human person is just a steward of creation as mandated by God. Because of the different views, major issues comes in. Number one, humanity's role in the natural world. Two, the interaction between nature and human activities. And the number three, humanity's response Environmental challenges. Most views of environmental philosophy emphasize the role of humans play in causing environmental changes, such as the illegal logging. Other views, however, recognizes that changes in the environment are part of the larger interplay among organisms and ecosystems on the planet. On the other hand, the deep ecology, the natural world is being maintained by the interrelationship among living organisms that every living thing on the planet on each other for survival. For Gaia hypothesis suggests that non-organic elements in the planet play a significant role in maintaining balance in the environment as they interact with living organisms to regulate the various systems that enable life to continue thriving on Earth. What is the Gaia hypothesis? Both living and dead organisms, as well as organic material, all form part of the constantly moving system that makes up the biosphere. The Gaia hypothesis was initially put forward by James Lovelock and later co-developed by Lynn Margulis. A hypothesis that Earth is like huge self-regulating organisms. Theological views holds that mankind is intended to live in harmony with all creation. The Bible says that God created man and granted him dominion over all creatures and tasked him to subdue the earth, according to Genesis 1:26 to 28. This dominion did not mean wanton exploitation and destruction, but rather care it and contribute to its growth and development. According to Pope John Paul II, recognize man's lordship over nature as a ministerial act, a contribution of the work of the Creator, and such mission must be exercised with wisdom and love. There are some environmental problems. Number one, pollution. Two, environmental degradation. Three, depletion of natural resources. Four, the global warming. And the last is the climate change. On the year 2014, a study on global warming conducted by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, there are some issues arise. Number one, the steadily warming ocean temperature, glacial melting in the Arctic, change in global weather pattern resulting to intense storm and heat waves, acidification of the oceans that affects countless marine life, and the increase of global sea levels. The question is, how do philosophical views influence environmental action? Number one is the environmental ethics. Emerged in 1970s and advocate human responsibility and action with regards to environmental issues. In environmental ethics, it is a part of the environmental philosophy which considers extending the traditional boundaries of ethics from solely including humans to including non-human world. In this part of the environmental philosophy, people ask the questions we are the most familiar with, such as, should we chop down the tree to make currency? Or what things do we need to preserve for our future generation? The question is, do we participate in some other activities such as the reuse, reduce and recycle, the Earth Hour, the Earth Day, and the planting of trees. The ethical views emphasize key ideas that combine philosophical, pragmatic, and theological perspectives. Number one, all non-human elements of the world have intrinsic value and should be preserved. Number two, preservation of the environment is beneficial for humans as it will continue to provide for the present and future generation. Number three, man has responsibility to safeguard the planet as it has been entrusted to him by God. The social ecology applies an ecological and ethical approach in analyzing society and sees a relationship between social and environmental problems, such as society should therefore implement changes in order to address issues regarding the environment. The growing concern with climate change has inspired a number of views and concepts, such as climate ethics, the climate justice, which considered climate change a significant ethical, social, and political issue. These views were greatly influenced by a concept of environmental justice, which refers to the distribution of environmental benefits as well as the burden of meeting environmental challenges. Advocates the environmental justice emphasize equality and the meaningful involvement of communities and governments in addressing environmental challenges and planning and implementing environmental policies. The environmental aesthetics discuss concepts of beauty of nature but has recently been increasingly influenced by environmental concerns. The environmentalism has also become an important issue in international politics as governments and international organizations have devoted efforts to discuss environmental issues and formulate plans to address them. In the environmental aesthetics was originated as a reaction to an emphasis on merely aesthetics, pursuing instead the investigation of the aesthetic appreciation of natural environments. We have the Kyoto Protocol on 1997 conducted in Japan. It is a various nation committed to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in order to curb global warming. The Earth Day on 1970 was conducted. It is a global effort to raise awareness of environmental issues and inspire action among communities. The next action conducted is the Ecofeminism. Ecofeminism is the social movement that regards the oppression of women and nature as interconnected. It is one of the few movements and analysis that actually connects two movements. The ecofeminism combines the movement of women's rights with the movement to care and preserve the earth. Thank you and God bless us all.